Hi, I'm Justin Cleaver. I go to Purdue University, and I'm currently a junior in the School of Industrial Engineering. And I chose to do my research over depression. And the case study that I used was a book by William Styron called Darkness Visible and Memoir of Madness. Now, there are two different types of mood disorder. There is unipolar depression and bipolar disorder. And depression is a disorder which is marked by extreme sadness, a lack of energy, and an overall low self-worth. And bipolar disorder is a disorder that alternates between depression and mania, which are a state of euphoria or frenzied activity. And in William's case, he was diagnosed with unipolar depression, which is depression without a history of mania. And William was born in Newport News, Virginia, where he went on to receive his degree at Duke University. He also served 3 years in the Marine Corps. And he starts off his book with a story of him in Paris, where he was there to receive an honorary award for his writing. And the whole ordeal had left him in a very joyless mood, which is kind of weird considering most people who would receive an award for something would be very happy. But that's just one of the symptoms of depression. People with depression usually feel miserable, and they generally lose pleasure in doing the daily activities that they once used to like doing. Like in William's case, he used to enjoy going for long walks in the woods, but he eventually lost interest in doing these things. They also tend to have to force themselves to do anything social, like to go out to eat with friends, or they may also lose their interest in sex, which Styron makes a note that he did lose his libido. People with depression also like to be alone, or spend a long time in the bed just laying there. A lot of them feel like they don't have the energy to do things anymore. And in Styron's case, he would wake up in the morning and stay there for 3 or 4 hours before finally getting up. And then as the day wore on, his depression would get a lot worse. And usually by the end of the night, he would just want to go upstairs by himself and lay in bed. And people also hold negative views of themselves. Like in Styron's case, he didn't feel like he deserved the award that he was receiving. And they also have a general sense of hopelessness, which lead a lot of people to contemplate suicide. And William was no different. As his book goes on, he describes his battle with depression and how he ultimately decided one day that he was going to end his life. He even went through changing his will and writing a note to leave for his wife. However, one night while watching a video of a student of his, he decided to not go through with it, and he proceeded to wake up his wife, and the next day he was in the hospital. People with depression could also have like physical symptoms like headaches, indigestion, or just like a general sense of pain, which could lead doctors to diagnose them with a medical problem as opposed to a mental illness. And the DSM states that in order to be diagnosed with unipolar depression, a person must present at least 5 symptoms of depression, like depressed mood daily, diminished interest in things, insomnia, weight loss or weight gain, fatigue, feelings of worthlessness, or thoughts of suicide. And these symptoms have to last at least 2 weeks, and they have to also cause significant impairment and distress, which in William's case, they went on for several months before he was put into the hospital, and they definitely caused him severe distress. The current explanation of depression points towards biological, psychological, and sociocultural factors, and bouts of depression are usually triggered by stressful events. In William's case, he ultimately believes that his depression is linked to the death of his mother when he was a very young boy. And he also points towards his alcoholism. He used to drink alcohol for many years until his body decided to reject it. And once he stopped drinking alcohol is when he noticed his depressive symptoms to come about. He thinks that alcohol actually masked some of the symptoms, and it wasn't until he stopped drinking that he ultimately began. Now, depression has also been linked to low activities of neurotransmitters, norepinephrine and serotonin. However, the general consensus is that depression is caused by a link between all the different views in psychology. And the treatment right now, there's a variety of treatments for depression. However, the most successful ones have been cognitive therapy, or a mix between cognitive therapy and antidepressants. In Styron's case, when he first gets back from Paris, he sees a psychiatrist who he believes won't actually help improve his symptoms just by talking to him. He actually went to him just to receive antidepressants that he had read about, and eventually his doctor prescribes them. They don't really have much of effect for him, which is why he ultimately went into the hospital. And while he was at the hospital, he started to feel better. At first, he was a candidate for electroconvulsive therapy, but since his symptoms started to wear off, he decided to go against doing it. And while he was there, he did a lot of different types of therapy. He did group therapy and art therapy, which he kind of thought were just a way to pass the time. He says that he thinks his ultimate help from the hospital was the seclusion and the time he spent there. And once he got out of the hospital, he continued to lead a fairly normal life, like most people with depression do. The general prognosis is that the majority of people with depression do get better, and that is what Styron makes a comment about, that the only good thing about depression is the fact that people can overcome it. But people are warned, however, that later on in life, certain stressful events may cause more bouts of depression. However, they should know that they can overcome that as well. I think this book was a good book for someone who is going through depression to read, or maybe if somebody knows somebody with depression. I think it could give them a lot of hope in seeing someone else's case of depression and seeing how low they sunk, and how they ultimately came about depression and continued to live a normal life. In Styron's case, he still writes books. He enjoys time with his family, and I just think it's a good book for somebody to read. I enjoyed the class, and I